This is the hidden side of baseball. Baseball X's and O's. People see amazing plays at the plate, plays at the bag, base hits to the field, and guys are making incredible throws and incredible relays to get guys out, or incredible mistakes that'll cost them the game. And my whole goal with this series in Baseball X's and O's is to provide a new perspective to people that are either interested, have played the game and know it well, or people that may not know it as well, to help provide them with a perspective of just how much thought, methodical, mechanical process goes into every single play that happens in baseball, and why all 9 guys on the field have to be on the same page before every pitch is even thrown. And this is just one example of one of the many, many things that go into baseball that makes it such a mental game. It's a head game. It's a chess match, and everyone's got to know what their job is. To start it off, we're going to start with basic cutoffs from the outfield in different scenarios, how and why they happen, and the different nuances of each situation, as well as at the very end, I put in here a special case. I'm going to be adding in special cases of different moments from elite level players and why we look at baseball pros in a different light, and why it's a totally different game at this level, because the capabilities that some of these guys have is just different. If you are interested in these things, before I get started, comment down below any questions you have, other things you would like me to cover in Baseball X's and O's series. So anything you want to see, let me know. Leave it in the comment below. Any questions you have about this video, leave it in comments below. I'm going to read every single comment. Let's get started. So basic cutoffs. The number one thing before the ball is hit is you have to understand the situation. Now, this is as basic as it gets. You got nobody on base, okay? Full count, bottom of the first inning, nobody out. You're going to get a base hit to left field from a batter that does make a difference. You want to take into account their speed. But the main goal here is when you get a base hit with nobody on base, the number one goal of everybody on the field, you're trying to keep this guy on first base. Do not let him turn this into a double and get to second, especially a guy like Mookie Betts who's pretty fast. You know the situation. You got to be dialed in. With nobody on base, anything hit to center field or left field is going to get cut off by the shortstop to second base, and the second baseman is going to cover the bag. Anything hit to right field with nobody on base, the second baseman is going to be the cutoff, and the shortstop is going to cover the second base bag. This will be to left field. We get a base hit. And another key note here, throwing it straight in. Notice you have the shortstop right here, right? You were taught as an outfielder to throw the ball right over the top of your cutoff's head. The reason being, when the cutoff can let it go and they think there might be a play at the bag, they duck down like he does, and it should go right over his head of where he would be standing, and it should do a perfect one hop to the play at second base. And this is why it's called a cutoff, because you are cutting off the throw from the outfielder to second base. In a situation where there's no play and they can cut this ball off, the shortstop can just catch this, cut it, walk it into the infield, and call it a play. But it looked like there might be a play at second. This is a perfectly executed, very basic cutoff play. The throw goes right over his head in perfect line to second base. The outfielder is throwing to second base through his cutoff man. And this would be the same thing flipped the other way. If it was to the right field side with nobody on base, this would then be, instead of the shortstop, the second baseman, and the shortstop would be covering the bag. Same thing, just other side. Perfect. And it stops them from getting into second. So that's very, very basic. Now let's talk about the next situation. Now we're going to have a runner on first base with nobody out, and we're going to get a base hit to center field. Now, you always want to play for 2 bags ahead of the lead runner. That means that our number one job on a base hit, on a single to the outfield anywhere, our number one play right now is to keep this runner on first base from getting to third. We want to hold him on second, or if he's going to run and try and get to third, we are going to try to line up the throw to third base to get this guy out. Now, let's watch the play and we'll talk about the different scenarios here. Base hit center field. The shortstop's going to go out and be the cutoff man. Again, perfect line in position for third base now. And the same thing, the throw should be going right over the top of the cutoff man's head. Because this play was to center field, the shortstop here will be the cutoff man, perfectly in line with third base. Whereas second base will now be in charge of covering the second base bag in case the runner that got the single is going to try to extend it out and make it to second base on this throw. Key thing to note here, watch what the shortstop does. This is very key. The shortstop is going to let this throw go over him. He's not going to cut off this ball because the base runner is going to third. They have a chance to get him out, but he doesn't want the runner rounding first that hit this ball to get to second base. So he is going to fake like he is going to catch this ball and cut it off, only to show to the base runner rounding first that, hey, he might cut this ball off. I don't have a chance to get to second. But he's not going to. He's going to let it go over his head, but he's going to fake like he's going to catch it, only for the purpose of keeping that runner on first base while getting the guy at third. Here we go. Right over his head, faking like he's going to cut it off. Perfect play at third, and they get the out. That's perfectly executed. That could not have been played any better, and that is what a pro-level cutoff situation looks like. Again, having that throw go right over the top of the shortstop's head is super key because that gives him the option. Again, he can cut it off if there's no play and keep that runner on first, or he can fake like he's going to catch it to still make that runner stay on first. If that runner from first gets to second base, that's a problem because now a base hit could potentially score that runner. If you keep that runner on first while getting the out at third, now they need an extra base hit or a home run to potentially score him, or they would need multiple hits. So keeping him in that position on first while getting the out at third is perfectly executed and why this works so well. It's just beautiful baseball. And it just shows that's why these guys are the pros. A perfect one hop to the bag. Right in time. Next situation, we got a runner on second base with one out. Remember, you're trying to play 2 bags ahead of the lead runner, which means we officially have a play at the plate now in most scenarios. You're at least going to try to cut 4 to try to have at least a chance to get this guy. Now, I will say at the pro level, with the speed that these guys have, this play is pretty tough to make, but you at least have a chance to try and get this guy. We're going to get a base hit to left field. And now in this scenario, anything hit to left field with a guy on second, now your third baseman is going to be your cutoff to the plate, and you'll see why. Base hit left field. Watch the third baseman here. He's going to get depth into the infield. He's going to be the cutoff man to 4, which means the shortstop is going to have to come over and cover third base, and the second baseman is going to go over and cover second. The reason for this is because the third baseman is in a better position to get lined up perfectly at the plate from a cutoff from left field than the shortstop would be in a short amount of time. So watch, third baseman is going to get depth. Again, the outfielder is throwing over the top of his head. He can choose to cut it off if he wants to try to stop the runners from advancing any further, or he can let it go through if he thinks there's a chance for a play at the plate. Usually the catcher is communicating that. Again, notice the third baseman is going to fake like he's going to catch it to stop the other runners from advancing further. That's key, but he does not get close to touching it, and he's going to let it go through to the plate. Fake, play at the plate, perfect throw, got him in time. And with that fake, kept the runner on first base. Perfectly executed again. Cannot get better than that. Now I'm going to show you what it looks like when things don't go perfectly and why it's so important for everything and everyone to be on the same page and execute what they're supposed to. This will be the same thing. Runner on second base with a base hit to right field. The first baseman is going to be the guy to come in and be the cutoff man to 4. But you'll notice the outfielder way overthrows his cutoff man. The base runner rounding first sees that immediately and is going to take second base. Base hit right field. First baseman is going to come in to be the cutoff man. They have a play at the plate. The base runner is able to tell immediately that this is going straight to 4. It looks like this throw is way over the first baseman's head, which makes it obvious the play is at the plate, which allows this base runner down here in white, rounding first, a chance to get to second with no issue. Rounds all the way, and he's going to make it all the way to second base. Again, because that throw is so over his head, it's easy to tell that that's not going to get cut off, and that's what allows them to get to second. So yes, they get the out at the plate, but they allowed that base runner to get to second. So now all they need is a base hit to score that guy. They would have been in a much better position if the throw from the outfield was in a better spot to keep that base runner on first. So they could have had the out at 4 while keeping that base runner on first and making them way less likely to score. And things like this can be the difference between winning and losing. That's just the facts. And I will show you the other angle here so you can get a better idea of what this looks like. Base hit to right field again. Credit to Youth Baseball for the clips. I did borrow this one because they have it all lined up and I couldn't find any more footage that I could draw on. But you can see first baseman's going to go infield grass to be the cutoff man. Second baseman's going to come around to first base to cover. Shortstop's going to cover second base. If this was just a better throw, they would have had a chance to keep this guy on first. Again, throwing it in way too far. Base runner's rounding first and just overthrows him to the point that that base runner knows he has a chance to get to second and he takes advantage. And that's the difference. Now, let's get to the special case. This clip is insane, but I just want to show people why we love pro baseball so much and why these guys are fascinating to watch. We're going to have Ronald Acuna in right field. Something about playing right field. Typically, your outfielder that has the best arm is the guy you want in right field because those base hits with a runner on first and they're trying to test the runner. If you have a right fielder with an unbelievable arm, you give him the green light to just overthrow his cutoff man all the time. If he has an elite level arm, this only happens in pro baseball. You give him the green light to make crazy throws to third to get those guys out. Whether it's a fly ball and the runner's tagging up on second, or it's a base hit and the guy's on first. And either way, they're trying to take third base on you because the ball is being hit to right field and it's a farther throw. If you have an elite level arm, you give that guy the green light to try and get him. And this is what an elite level arm looks like that you give that green light to. The same way in the NBA that Steph Curry has a green light to take crazy shots that no one else will be allowed to take in the NBA because it's considered a bad shot. It's the same way a guy like Ronald Acuna is allowed to make throws like this because his arm is ridiculous. He's going to get a fly ball to deep right field, almost to the fence, in a bad position. The runner right now on second base is trying to get to third, and he is going to overthrow his cutoff man to try to get the guy at third. Watch this arm. Insane arm. Not a whole lot of humans are making that throw. They cannot execute and make the play at third because the guy didn't get the scoop here. But I just wanted to show the difference of how elite these guys are. And that's the type of guy that you give the green light to overthrow the cutoff man. And that is a special case. He didn't make the play in this scenario, but had he made the scoop, probably would have got the guy out. And that's why you give him the green light. That's what makes baseball beautiful and why this high-level baseball is so fun to watch, because these guys are freaks of nature, just like any other sport has freaks of nature. This was the most basic version of cutoffs. I'm going to do a more advanced version with relays and double cuts coming up next. Comment below questions you have. Comment below other things you would like me to cover in baseball, and let me know how I did with this video. Hopefully it's interesting. I'm trying to provide more perspective to the game and bring people in to understand just how much goes into it and how nuanced it is. And hopefully this is doing a good job of that. Thank you guys for your time. I appreciate everyone that watched to this point, and please subscribe for the next one. And I'm reading every comment. See you guys in my next video.